Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. There's Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. Venezuela must refrain from taking any action against annexing Guyana's Essequibo region, ICJ rules. This story takes the lead in our today's edition of Caribbean Perspective for Monday, 4th December 2023, brought to you in association with our friends at Antillean Group. Details when we return.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all perils big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so glad to see. Peace of mind, that's a service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
Welcome back. In a landmark ruling, the International Court of Justice, the ICJ, unanimously favored Guyana, approving its request for provisional measures. After reviewing Guyana's terms for provisional measures, the court declared that Venezuela must abstain from any actions that could change the current situation, pending a final decision. Renata Burnett of HGP Nightly News reports.
In the highly anticipated ruling, the International Court of Justice handed down its decision on Friday that pending its final decision in the case, Venezuela must refrain from taking any action which will modify that situation where Guyana exercises and administers control over the Essequibo region. Judge Joan Donoghue, president of the International Court of Justice, in handing down the ruling, said the court considers that in light of the strong tension that currently characterizes the relations between the parties, a serious risk exists with Venezuela acquiring and exercising control and administration of the territory in dispute.
It therefore concludes that there is a risk of irreparable prejudice to the right claimed by Guyana in the present proceedings that the court has found plausible. The court further considers that Venezuela's expressed readiness to take action with regard to the territory in dispute in these proceedings at any moment following the referendum scheduled for 3 December 2023 demonstrates that there is urgency, in the sense that there is a real and imminent risk of irreparable prejudice to Guyana's plausible right before the court gives its final decision.
Moreover, the court concluded that the conditions for the indication of provisional measures presented by Guyana are met. It emphasized that the question of the validity of the 1899 arbitral award and the definitive settlement of the land boundary dispute between Guyana and Venezuela are matters for the court to decide at the merit stage.
The court recalls that Guyana has requested it to indicate measures aimed at ensuring the non-aggravation of the dispute with Venezuela. When indicating provisional measures for the purpose of preserving specific rights, the court may also indicate provisional measures with a view to preventing the aggravation or extension of a dispute.
Further, having considered all the circumstances, in addition to the specific measures that it has decided to take, the court indicated an additional measure directed at both parties involved.
Pending a final decision in the case, the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela shall refrain from taking any action which would modify the situation that currently prevails in the territory in dispute, whereby the Cooperative Republic of Guyana administers and exercises control over that area. Both parties shall refrain from any action which might aggravate or extend the dispute before the court or make it more difficult to resolve.
On October 23, the government of Venezuela, through its National Electoral Council, published a list of 5 questions that it plans to put before the Venezuelan people in a consultative referendum set for this Sunday, 3 December 2023, which seeks to annex Guyana's lucrative Essequibo region. Renata Burnett, reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
Shortly after the International Court of Justice, the ICJ, announced its ruling in favor of Guyana, President Dr. Irfan Ali issued a statement expressing his approval of the court's decision. Tiana Cole of HGP Nightly News provides additional insights and details about President Ali's statement in her report.
Today's ruling is legally binding on Venezuela. Both the UN Charter and the statute of the court to which Venezuela is a party require its strict compliance. This is an opportunity for Venezuela to join Guyana in demonstrating respect for international law and the principles that govern peaceful coexistence.
That was President Dr. Irfan Ali minutes after the International Court of Justice, ICJ, granted Guyana provisional measures against Venezuela's December 3 referendum. The court's ruling was a unanimous decision.
Pending a final decision in the case, the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela shall refrain from taking any action which would modify the situation that currently prevails in the territory in dispute, whereby the Cooperative Republic of Guyana administers and exercises control over the area. End of quote. We welcome this unanimous ruling by the ICJ.
The court, in its ruling on Friday, prohibits Venezuela from annexing or trespassing upon Guyanese territory or taking any other actions, regardless of the outcome of the referendum on December 3.
Guyana remains steadfast in its commitment to the international judicial process and the rule of law. It is fully confident that when the ICJ issues its final judgment on the merits of the case, it will conclude that the ESSEQUIBO is legally and rightfully Guyanese territory.
The president also assured that Guyana is prepared to join the UN Security Council and is conscious of the responsibility that comes with the role, one that encourages and supports international peace and stability and the rule of law. He called on the peace-loving nations to impress upon Venezuela to respect the Charter of the United Nations and the UN's highest court. The head of state also noted that Guyana is committed to the region remaining a zone of peace. Tiana Ko reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick.
In association with our friends at
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
Developed nations pledged over $450 million to help vulnerable states. Jamila Maitland and Kalisha Williams of TVJ News report.
COP28 has officially begun with a symbolic ceremonial opening that saw COP27's president, Sameh Shoukry of Egypt, passing on the presidency to Dubai's Dr. Sultan Al Jaber.
And soon after, it was down to business. For the first time in COP history, a decision was made on day one. Leaders took the first step in finalizing the much-anticipated loss and damage fund to help vulnerable countries like Jamaica recover from climate-related disasters.
Hearing no objections, it is so decided.
A few countries made pledges to the Loss and Damage Fund. Among them, host country, the United Arab Emirates, pledging $100 million, while the United States, $17.5 million.
There's an active debate on which facility will host the fund, the World Bank or the United Nations, and how vulnerable regions like the Caribbean will access that money. Well, I spoke with Executive Director of the Caribbean Community Climate Change Center, Dr. Colin Young.
There is a strong preference by developing countries to have a fund that has its own legal personality, something akin to the Green Climate Fund, where it is not at the World Bank and not subjected to the board of the World Bank. So ultimately what countries want is a fund that can provide financing to countries quickly and at scale to deal with and recover from disasters.
With that issue aside, and more negotiations are underway, the attendants were concerned about another issue. What Dr. Al Jaber had to say about the leaked report had accused him and his team of using the international talks to strike fossil fuel deals for the UAE's state-owned oil and gas company. Notably, Dr. Al Jaber runs the Abu Dhabi Oil Company. Now, he's denied the claims. However, it's clear fossil fuels will be on the agenda for COP28.
We must look for ways and ensure the inclusion of the role of fossil fuels. I know there are strong views about the idea of including language on fossil fuels and renewables in the negotiated text. We collectively have the power to do something unprecedented.
If we do not signal the terminal decline of the fossil fuel era as we know it, we welcome our own terminal decline, and we choose to pay with people's lives. If this transition isn't just, we won't transition at all.
But are developing countries fighting a losing battle, or will COP28 deliver more during this critical time? Well, between November 30 and December 12, countries will decide on the way forward as global temperature continues to rise. Reporting from COP28 in Dubai through a Climate Tracker Fellowship, I'm Kalisha Williams.
And I'm Jamila Maitland reporting on a CCMP Fellowship for TJ News.
Over in Trinidad and Tobago, WePay is set to launch a digital app which turns smartphones into digital payment solutions for small businesses. More in this CNC3 Business Watch news item.
WePay is expected to launch soon its innovative mobile app called Color. John Molentiel, WePay's Chief Operating Officer, speaking to CNC3 Business Watch, says with the Color app, a customer can scan their QR code and pay a vendor or merchant through their mobile device.
Customers use their phone to scan the code and enter their bank card details on their device, so there's no contact. The second thing we showed in terms of getting paid and how easy it is tap to pay. That's really sexy one. So my phone, this phone, your phone, is actually a point-of-sale device. It has that capability.
Also speaking was digital strategist Karen Rose, who explained in detail how customers can be protected from the cyber attacks.
We wanted to be able to use a card that would act like a firewall. So we could load a card with our FundSmart credit card or our bank account, load this charge card, and use that to shop online. And in doing that, if that card ever gets compromised, we would just log into the Color app and turn off our Color card.
At the private unveiling at Arazi's restaurant on Marval Road last evening, a demo showed how users can pay utilities, do peer-to-peer transfers, and accept or send remittance payments.
And now we join Carice Gonzalez of HGP Nightly News out of Guyana for a regional roundup.
A citizen of Trinidad and Tobago was remanded to His Majesty Prison in Grenada after he appeared in court charged with capital murder. Israel Farrell, 20 machine operator from Trinidad and Tobago, was arrested on charge by members of the Criminal Investigation Department with the capital murder in connection with the death of Devlon Thomas. Farrell was also charged with 4 counts of attempted capital murder, 2 counts of possession of illegal firearms, and 2 counts of possession of ammunition in connection with 2 separate shooting incidents committed on August 14, 2023. Farrell appeared at the St. George's Magistrate Court and was remanded to His Majesty Prison. He is scheduled to return to court on December 19, 2023. Former St. Kitts and Nevis police officer has been charged with manslaughter. Dejan Warner, who has been on the run since June 2016, was charged following his arrival at the Robert L. Bradshaw International Airport after he was deported from the United States, where he served a 5-year prison sentence. Warner is accused of shooting his colleague police constable Brian Pocket on June 23, 2016 at Keon Street. Pocket, who was 34 years old at the time, was allegedly shot once in the upper leg, and as he and Warner attempted to apprehend a larceny suspect, Pocket, who was originally from Dominica, died while receiving medical care in Trinidad. Reports said suspect grabbed Pocket's service pistol and shot fired as the cops wrestled with him. I am Carice Gonzalez.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean.
In the meantime, please follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel for daily regional news and more, in association with our friends at Antillian Group.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. protection from all perils big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family, yes we do at every opportunity.
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.